Have you ever wanted to look into retro games but aren't sure where to begin? Do you ever wonder which classic games stand the test of time and which ones don't hold up? These are some questions that have been bothering me for a while now, and I think it's about time to do something about it. So I'm going through gaming's history one game at a time to find the best games of all time. Welcome to the Gaming Archaeologist. I haven't been the biggest fan of Final Fantasy, but I have been a fan of Fire Emblem and other strategy RPGs. So when I heard that the Final Fantasy Tactics series had grid-based combat rather than the standard turn-based combat typically found in RPGs, I was intrigued. Maybe the main Final Fantasy games aren't for me, but perhaps this spin-off will win me over. Well, let's take a look. The game opens with a group of children having a snowball fight, and the game cleverly uses this scenario to both establish the characters while also teaching the player the basic mechanics of the game. The story begins after the snowball fight when a group of friends hang out after school and take a look at a book of magic one of them bought. They all reminisce about how cool it would be if magic was real or if their fantasy world could come to life. However, as the old saying goes, be careful what you wish for, because the following night that very thing happens. The world, which as far as I can tell is supposed to be our world, is suddenly transformed into the world of Final Fantasy. The main character, Marsh, is separated from the others and is naturally very confused about what is going on, and so he embarks on an epic quest to find his friends and return them to the real world. The story and characters, like with many other Final Fantasy games, are very good, and while the opening is a little slow, it is intriguing, and you do want to know what is going on. But once the game gets going, it gets sidetracked by a bunch of side questing, and I think I've put my finger on another thing I dislike about this type of RPG, namely that so much of the gameplay has nothing to do with the overall goal of the game. In something like Fire Emblem, every battle, every enemy encounter, every move you make is relevant to the narrative and to the main conflict of the game. And even the few maps that are side quests still feel important because they either help flesh out the world or teach you something new about the characters. It feels like you're on a journey. But in this game, there's a lot of times where you don't feel like you're on an epic journey, you feel more like you're doing a bunch of errands. Hey, can you go pick up some herbs for me? Hey, can you go babysit my kid and keep them safe from monsters? Hey, can you go do this fetch quest or this mission that has nothing to do with the main plot? I'm sorry, but what does any of this have to do with anything? I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't finish this game. I got a fair ways into it, but then I somehow accidentally deleted my save file, and I really didn't feel like going through the first part of the game all over again, so take my opinion for what it's worth. But as someone who didn't complete the game, I can say that what I did play left me feeling rather disappointed. While I really liked the story and characters, ultimately they couldn't make up for the bulk of the gameplay being boring. The combat is definitely more engaging than the combat in a normal Final Fantasy game, but it's still pretty dull, and it's not enough to keep you going. Maybe it gets better later, but from what I played, I'd say that there's too much trough and not enough peak. So what do you think? Have you played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance? Are the other Final Fantasy Tactics games any good? Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you like what I do, feel free to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.